Welcome to all the classic car enthusiasts. Most of this video will be on the Jaguar XK150. There's a couple of issues and a couple of problems we came across. One problem we had, which was self-made, was due to not paying attention. We had a situation where we were putting on a new hub, and we had it all set up correctly, and we tried to use basically I've got this kind of cheap system for knocking it, and it was very, very cheap. I bought it at some restoration show, and they're made of alloy, and they basically just go on the end of here, and you can hammer them in. So you can put it inside your bearing. It's tapered, obviously, very light aluminium, and you can knock them in, but it's not good to, you need to put it on a piece of wood or something soft so you don't damage anything. Anyway, we found that wasn't working very well because we couldn't really get a purchase on it. So we have this bar. We've used it on the E-Type and many other cars, and we have different, basically different fittings for it, and we can extend it and shorten it and all this kind of stuff to pull things in. But what we don't have is anything to pull something apart. Anyway, basically what happened was instead of putting the inner race, or not the race, but the inner race, the tapered race in, when we put it in, we had it in the correct way to go into the, so you imagine this is the housing, it went into the bushing, it went into the housing like this. But we had to change some of these rings and spaces over, and when we did, we dropped it out, and unfortunately when it was put back in, it was put back in the wrong way round. So now we were in a situation where it was in, and there was no way of getting at it without damaging it. It was brand new, without damaging it to knock it out, which you wouldn't, if you were replacing it, it wouldn't matter. You just knock it out, and if you caught the end, it doesn't matter. You're putting a new one in anyway, and we didn't want to do this. This is an old one. So then we were faced with a situation: how do we get it out without damaging it and buying a complete new bearing, not just the inner race, but the bearing itself, because you can't get, it's a matched pair. So we came up with an idea, and what I'll do is I'll zoom you in here, and I'll show you how we just come in a bit quicker. I'll just pull it out there. There you go. So you can see this actually is a tool from Jaguar, and it's actually for taking out shock absorbers. For you basically, this goes over the spring on the shock absorber on an E-Type Jaguar. They're double shock absorbers and double springs on the independent IRS on a Jaguar. And so obviously if you need to change the coil springs, or you need to change the shock absorber, which is internally of the spring, you need this to compress it. So you compress it with this, you let the spring go, you put your new one in, and then compress it back again, or release it. So what we did is we came up with this idea, which I thought was kind of quite neat, really. We found something that would fit onto one of these, and you can see what we had to do was we had to cut the edges a little bit, but the majority of it's there. And then what we did was we took this is an old stud, and I welded a ring to it. We actually put it on this way. It's actually, I tell you what it's from, it's off a Mini. It's off the suspension on a Mini. And then what I did was I welded this ring to it here. I think hopefully you can see that. And then welded this ring to it, and then we popped this in and dropped it through the, imagine this one obviously, what is it? This one is a larger one. This is from an E-Type, this one here. But basically what we did is we popped it in over like that, and then it sat, and it was enough to pull it back out again. So quite happy with that. So it was a nice little idea that worked. Normally, in fact, this is the one from the other side. You can see that what you had to do was you just had to pop it in at an angle. I'll turn it around a bit. You just had to pop it in at, no, it was that way around, that's right. So you basically popped it in like that, and it sat, and that's how That's how we managed to get it out, and we pulled it back out the other way round. So yeah, I was quite pleased with that. It worked out very well. And you can see normally what you would do is, if this is for instance on the front suspension, on the front stub axle, and if you were putting it in, you could use something like that, and that's almost a perfect fit for forcing it down into the thing. But sometimes it's not easy, especially if they're a long piece. Anyway, so yeah, that's how we made it. So sometimes, let me just pull you back out. So yeah, so sometimes you have to you have to do a bit of a reverse engineering, and this was just losing the plot for a second. You know, we had so many of these pieces on it to try and pull it together, and we weren't watching when we dropped this this race out, or this taper out. When we picked it up straight away and put it back onto the thread, and just didn't look. So attention to detail, you know, I was absolutely going mental when I did it. Okay, it doesn't matter who did it. I mean, one of us picked it up and put it in the wrong way, but this is what happened, and we had to just do something about it. And as I say, we reversed engineer this. Instead of compressing, we used it as a puller, and it worked well because I didn't actually use this on the E-Type. I bought it for the E-Type, but I never used it on the E-Type. And the reason was I used gas shock absorbers, and they have different plates that fit in the top of the spring when you release it, so I didn't actually need it, but so I've used it now anyway. So I'm going to take you on to the XK and show you how we've got on with the suspension and torsion bars. I'll catch you in a minute. So on these front suspension, they're what they call torsion bar suspension, and basically what that is a solid steel shaft that's clamped at one end, and on the other end so it's actually twisted, and hence the word torsion. So it's using torsional strength in the bar to make to put tension into the suspension. And obviously these torsion bars are left and right handed. If you ever have any problems, if you look on the front of the spline, it'll say LH and RH, obviously left hand and right hand, because they're torsioned in a certain direction. So this is why they're left and right handed. Okay, so this one is in, and what you'll see here is I've made this piece of box section, and this is obviously where the shock absorber goes, which I'll show you on that side. But what this is basically is like a test bar. So you make this a certain length from the bottom of the shock absorber strut or holder bar, and then to the top of where it would be, and this is your optimum length, and that actual length is let me put my glasses on so I can see what I'm doing, is 375 millimeter. This is from the center of this hole to the center of this hole, 375 millimeter, and that's the optimal length to get your torsion bar set up on the splines in the first place. What you do then is set the adjustable nut, which is on the back here. You set it to the highest, or as far in as you can get it, and then put your front bolts into this arm. So you've got the top and bottom wishbone, and this will, and then it's all basically set up. And then you can then jack this up, and this is when the torsion. So basically, this is being jacked up. You imagine this is being jacked up and that's being pushed down, so it's like that. The bar's being twisted. So, and to give you an idea, because I can't really show you very well on camera, I'll show you this picture, and hopefully this will show up. And I think you can see there, this is from somebody else's car, but you can see how that bar works. This is from another guy's vlog, that's where I got the information from. Great thing, the internet, and that's basically how you set it up. We'll show you later, and hopefully what should end up is the adjusting nut should be halfway down the thread by the time the ride height is perfect. So if you need any information on that, just let me know. So I'll take you back out, and I'll show you on this side. So you can see on this side here I've got the jack under it, and you can see now that I can actually lift this suspension up. I won't lift it up too much because it'll lift off the chassis, but you can see it's actually working on the torsion bar. So I'll just take this off. Okay, and what I'll do now is I'll pick the camera up and show you. Okay, so you can see here, I'll take you around the other side so you can see, there's the shock absorber on. They're adjustable gas shocks. Everything's set up ready and now to go. The torsion bar is in, and you can see the torsion bar along there, and then it goes into this recess here, and this is the adjusted nut, so you can adjust it. Sorry the light's not great, but you can adjust it there, and this is the actual, this is the way it works. So you've got, this basically fits, this actually fits like this. Hang on, let me get it right in a sec. And basically that fits through there, and it goes into that system, but obviously the other way around. This thing goes on it, on the bottom. So how do I do this with one hand? No, I don't think I can. That basically goes on the bottom into this half moon shape. Let me see it there better. Okay, yeah, you can see that half moon. That goes into this recess on here, and then you've got this. It is actually brass, but it's been painted black. And it goes into this, I don't know if you can just see it there, it goes into this system here, and this is what tightens it. So there's a few parts missing, so hopefully by Friday we'll have the extra parts we need for putting it down on all four wheels, and then we can adjust the ride height, and hopefully the Mini stuff will be here tomorrow. I've got some S-Pack arches, a door bottom repair panel, or a door frame repair panel, and some brand new hinges for it, so we're going to fit all them up, and so there should be some work coming on that this week, but we're just waiting for these parts to come. So that's where we're at the moment. Okay, so this is our new doggy. Sit. She's called Stella. Sit down, darling. Sit. Good girl. This is Stella, and she's a little cutie, very bright. She was born in Hungary, and she's about 7 months old now. But she really is. But unfortunately, she's so small compared to Sammy. Come on, up. Coming up. No, 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 no. Come on then. But we've had to put wire on the fence. She's that thin. She's getting a little bit fatter. We've only had her 3 days, but she's very, very cute. Aren't you, darling? So we had to put this wire over this because she could slip through. So a temporary thing. Hopefully, when she gets a bit bigger, she's only 7 months. Come on then. Say hello. Say hello. Say hello to the camera. But she's a lovely little thing. Very smart. Typical female dog. I think she's part Basset, I think. She really is very good. So that's it for today. So yeah, catch you in the next one. Stella.